Let's do the damn thing.
Oh, you know what time it is. It's time to take it to the Birdland. It's about to go down. Hope y'all ready. Yeah, let's go. Come and roll with me to the Birdland. Friends got to giving you the word, man. Any other BS is absurd, man. Sports talking, they give it to you firsthand. They can talk chirps, they can talk O's. Yeah, they both lit. That's how it goes. Baltimore squad, Ravens and Poe. Better tune in. Here on the show. Birdland, Birdland, Birdland. BS. Birdland, Birdland, Birdland. BS.
What's up, peeps?
What's up, BSers?
It's all about that Birdland BS, baby.
Got another skeleton crew, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen, though, for you guys.
As Fred is starting a little vacation tonight for himself. Him and Ryan having a bromance going on. Having fun down in Ocean City. So enjoy yourself, gentlemen. And James, still living it up down there, training in Atlanta for his job. So
I guess it's going well because I asked earlier. I don't remember seeing
I think he's been hard to work.
He's still down there, so I'm assuming if he's still down there, it's going
well. Exactly. He's passing tests. But hey, listen, it's a fountain of youth, guys. Today's August 23rd, and again, here we are. We're only 2 weeks away from the start of the season at this point.
So ready for it to just start.
Yeah.
Like, not even just the regular anticipation of football. Like, I'm just so tired of all the stuff. But like Scott said, yeah, fountain of youth alive and well in Baltimore, starting off. So we're going to cover that second preseason game from Sunday night, talk about a lot of the young guys that stood out mainly. That's how it is when you get to these games. These guys that need to find that bubble. Or not even the bubble. The guys like the Travis Jones of the world is now, is their time to shine. That's what we're going to talk about.
Solidifying their spot. Mm-hmm. And look, we can't not talk about the NFL on Fox broadcast team creating freaking rumors and stories that are simply not true, especially about a QB's health and contract.
Just talking out of their ass in general. Like, there's a lot to uncover with that one.
Yeah.
Of course, hey, O's still doing good, baby. They're kind of rebounding here a little bit. So we're going to tap deep into their youth. Hey, there's a hint. There's a hint to what we'll be talking about. The youth of the minor leagues as they bring up a true California boy and steal the show in the Little League Classic.
That was a great game. I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Was good.
It was a pitcher's duel, and yeah, we'll get to it. Real good.
But hey, we've been teasing it, guys. Here it is. Write it down. It'll be in the post later. Don't worry. We'll put some posts out. But we have our ESPN Fantasy Pick'em League for 2022. I am excited. You can have your chance to win a Birdland BS prize pack.
This was a labor of love to create, by the way, because Scott was having issues. So
I was not having issues. ESPN was having issues.
Join in. Take it serious, win some prizes. Let's do this.
Yeah, you're going to get a Birdland BS prize pack and bragging rights on the show, as maybe we'll let you call into the show and brag about beating the Birdland BS crew in a Pick'em League.
Don't let one of the crew win, because we're not going to let you guys live it down.
No, we're not. We're not. Not going to happen.
We're taking it serious.
What you're going to do is you're going to go to ESPN, that fantasy section of theirs, and you're going to go to the Pigskin Pick'em section, and from there, the league name is '22 Birdland BS picks. The password is going to be Birdland BS, all one with a capital B at the beginning and a capital B and a capital S at the end. Don't worry, we'll put it out in comments.
Check the pages later; it'll be out there. And by the way, David Mister, congratulations on the new nuptials. I see. He
there you go. He was the first one in the room. Even with new nuptials. Very good.
Happy wife, happy life, buddy.
Oh, there you go.
Careful.
Love it. Love it.
Anyway, it's that good time. It's that time, baby. Bowers, Hassan, and Herndon, of course. So yeah, you remember our team now. They're go by Bowers, Hassan, and Herndon. So they've expanded. They have more lawyers now to handle a broader spectrum of cases now for you. Still handling all of your auto accidents and injuries
injuries on the job.
You take a couple weeks off. Injuries on the job. But now that the team can help you with family law issues, with divorce, custody, child support, all of that, and even in criminal cases. So call now or text that number 667-220-6500 anytime for any of your needs. Say that number. I'll say it again if I have to. I mean, we have to. 667-220-6500. Call or text anytime to get the team at Bowers, Hassan, and Hernan on the case for you. Yeah.
That's all, folks. All right, guys. It is time for some flock talk. And we can't not start without pointing out the fact that the Ravens extended their preseason winning streak to 22 games.
It matters.
That's, yeah. Woo! They beat the Cardinals 24-17 in Arizona on Sunday night. By the way, we're going to get to the other half later, but there was a lot of channel flipping on Sunday night.
Or falling asleep on the couch.
YouTube TV needs a goddamn
you're right.
Last button. I need to hit the last button.
Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there's something out there that people can do. I'm not really the best with technology. Like, do I not remember, like, in the
picture
mid-90s having a picture? Like, granted, that little picture box was the size of your cell phone at the bottom of the TV. I get it. I'd still rather, but how do we not have that with, like, technology?
I don't know.
Like, you'd have to be down here watching on that TV and having, like, you could do it. But I'm like,
yeah, we could probably set something up here to make it work, but it doesn't. It sucks. Picture needs to come back.
It is hard because you get to a point where, like, I can't, like, I don't really like sitting there with, like, the remote in my hand anyway, because I feel like then I'm tempted to, like, I won't be switching between those two. Then I'm finding Guy Fieri and other stuff, or like whatever. Like, they can do it because the NCAA does it for March Madness all the time. Yeah.
Give me the ability to flip. But look, there's a lot of channel flipping between the Orioles and the Ravens, both playing at the same time.
That is a good problem to have.
That's a great problem to have. But before we start with the game, there was rumors. We knew he came into town. It was official, or it's official now. The Ravens have signed wide receiver and former Chief DeMarcus Robinson. They signed him to a one-year deal, $1.035 million. That includes $895,000 guaranteed, which is $575 more than the previous $320 guaranteed with the Raiders, who released him earlier. A week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So, look, I think Fred, when him and I were talking, he kind of summed it up best by saying, like, the guaranteed money kind of ensures him as a spot on this roster.
Yeah.
But as you and I were talking before the show, the appeal here is not that he's going to be a guy that's going to put up crazy numbers. I mean, when you look at his numbers, he's been in the league for 6 years. He's started only 42 out of 97 games that he's been in the league for. He's got a total of 1,600 yards in really technically 5 seasons, because he actually started getting into games in 2017. He did a little. I think he did some like special team stuff his first year in Kansas City. But obviously, he was having to compete with Tyreek Hill out there. You've got what's his face, tight end out there. I can't even think of his name. Not Kelsey.
In Kansas City?
Yeah,
Kelsey.
Why am I thinking? I was thinking Kelsey. Don't even get me started.
I'm trying to think.
Brain
of, like,
farts. Brain farts.
Who's the backup tight end? Does it matter?
Exactly. But no. So the thing that you look at, like, he's never put up more than 450 yards. In fact, he put up 450 yards once in 2020, 466. That's his highest yardage in a year. As far as touchdowns, he's not a big touchdown getter. His highest is 4. In 2018, from 2018 till now, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. It just hasn't been there. But you brought up a great point. I think you and I both are going to make great points, but I'm going to let you start first with what you think he brings to the table here.
He's going to take the top off the defense. I mean, that's no doubt about it. I mean, that's what he does. And that's the thing with being in Kansas City. Mahomes spreads the ball around in a sense because he's, you know what I mean? Like, he always tries to make the play no matter what. He doesn't just give up on plays very often. But I mean, his reads were Hill and Kelsey. You know what I mean? Like, so all those guys below him, when Watkins was there, he was there. Hardman, you're all kind of bit players, and he did it. It was a deep one. I don't remember if it was like 60 yards or whatever it was, but in that night game in September against Kansas City, took the top off the Ravens defense for a long touchdown. Like, that's what he's going to bring to the table. It's not going to be anything pretty, but at the same time, you're not asking him to come in here and be. I think anybody, for me, any player on this team that's not Bateman, wide receiver wise. We know that it's what Mark Andrews does, but wide receiver wise, anybody who's not named Bateman, I don't really think there's necessarily like a number 2 in my mind. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't.
You don't
rank
have
him
you don't
as
have a
number 2.
quote solid number 2, but part
Like
of that.
I've seen people like last week or so, like you call like a Bridges or like somebody else a wide receiver 2. And I'm like,
Shamar Bridges, and we're gonna get to all these guys in a second.
You got to play in the regular season. You can find that diamond in the rough, and obviously that guy's number 2.
We're gonna get to the wide receiver core in a second, but to me, the thing that he brings to the table, you look at the wide receiver room even before the cuts.
Mm-hmm.
The longest anybody has been here is 2 years.
Yeah.
You needed to bring in a veteran here, and that's what he gives you a veteran presence. Now he's not a flashy veteran. He's not the big star wide receiver, but he is bringing experience. He's a pretty solid route runner, and the fact that you bring in that veteran experience from a team that had success.
Yeah.
Right in Kansas City. So there's something to be said about that, and I think that, in my opinion, I've said it before. What did we talk about back when what's his face RG3 was here? It was $1 million deal, and everybody's going, "Why the hell do you need RG?" Because it's veteran experience at that position. It's $1 million.
This is not some bank breaking deal.
It's even with the space that we have left in the space we have left in the cap, it's still it's pennies on the dollar with the space we have left in the cap to bring in somebody that's just going to be there as experience, right? Which then opens it up. Not to mention some of the other guys that are probably going to take the cake and get some more receptions than some other people. We'll get into that here in a little bit too.
Yeah.
But the Ravens, obviously, as we said, the Ravens had to make some cuts. They make them today. They had to make them by 4 p.m. today to get down to the 80 mark that the NFL requires. It's 80, and then I think it's 60, and then 53.
It's so crazy how you wait. Like you get to this point, and it's like it's such an abrupt thing.
Well,
you got to cut it to 80, and then this and that and the other. It's like
so part of that, and I've heard that argument, but I think one of the things that people don't think about is part of that is the agreement with the Players Association.
Yeah,
because you want to give those guys that you are going to cut a chance to maybe go elsewhere.
That's a good point.
It's that chance. And you heard John Harbaugh on his press conference today say that some of the guys that they cut, they truly think they're gonna get picked up elsewhere. They're gonna get picked up off waivers, and it's gonna be as simple as that. If they don't, he'd love to have them back because he thinks they have some talent. It's just they're not in a spot, and it's telling to me because he basically is telling a story. We're not in a spot to really be in the development game right now.
Yeah.
So these are guys that could pick up on teams that nobody's expecting to do. Miami, right? Teams that need some help, that really could have the time. Let me show you that. They have the time to develop some of these guys. That's going to be the interesting thing here because we still have an abundance in some of these spots. So with the corresponding moves, we also got some injury updates. So let's go through the injury updates first. We saw running back Gus Edwards. This was the big story. He was put on the reserve PUP list.
Big, probably not surprising, but yeah, big nonetheless.
Correct. I mean, this means he's going to be out for a minimum of weeks 1 to 4. Right, so you're giving him time, which I think makes sense given that you have Dobbins back. Don't rush him back. You have Mike Davis out there who hasn't looked bad.
Yeah.
Right, so you have some depth here. You have Batty who hasn't looked bad. I think there's a lot to say with some of these guys. So to put Gus Edwards, stash him a little bit, let him continue to get healthy, make sure he's good, and then we can bring him back when we're ready and when he's ready. I think it makes sense.
Not the hard. It is. It just makes sense. It helps you with that roster construction that you have to meet. And I mean, you already knew he wasn't the way everything had been sounding. Like he wasn't ready for week 1 anyway. So it seemed inevitable.
Yeah, I think
as it was.
The thing that you got to kind of look at here is this is smart by the Ravens. It's not a Gus Edwards or it's not a J.K. situation where Gus is going, I'm ready. Like, Gus has actually been quiet.
Yeah.
And so it makes you think that he also probably feels he needs the time, which is smart of them. I like it. And an additional corresponding move. Now, there's actually been back and forth on this with social media and Twitter based on John Harbaugh's comments because it was said that they were putting David Ajabu on the reserve NFI list. But in the press conference today, John Harbaugh was asked about it, and he goes, I don't think we have to do any moves. That's a good question. I need to ask Eric about that. And so it's like, oh, wait a second. So I don't know if it came out quite afterwards or whatnot, but we'll see what happens. I really think when it comes down to it, we all knew he's not gonna play for a while. Maybe he comes back this year. We're hoping it. I'd love to see him back, but don't rush him back. This is your second round pick that you got to steal on, because many people thought he was going in the first round before the injury. Yeah. So this guy's got a lot of talent. Make sure he's healthy before he comes back. Please don't rush him.
Yeah, I don't think that they would. Yeah.
No. And then you have, with everything going on, and I know that Game Medicine, appreciate it, buddy. You had a few guys in Ronnie Stanley and Tyus Bowser, both really going hard at conditioning. Harbaugh admits that at this time, it's getting short for week one for these two guys to start. I could see them going on the formal pup list that puts them in week 1 through 4. Yeah. They haven't made that call yet. They're still on just the normal pup list, so they can technically still come off. But I fully anticipate, like Game Medicine said, these guys are probably going to stay on there and wind up being in that situation. Now, let's get to the releases. We've got the 3 wide receivers, which we already... We were wealth of wide receivers coming into this preseason game, as we had 12.
And they were, right? I mean, a good amount of them were all making some kind of headway too.
Yeah, you have Jalen Moore, Slade Bolden, and Bailey Gaithersburg, who were all released. Those are the 3 guys that specifically a guy like Slade Bolden and Moore, with some of the stuff he was able to do on special teams. I think it's one of those things that you're going to see somebody's going to pick these guys up as developmental pieces. They went undrafted, so there's a high likelihood that they're going to wind up.
Yeah, Jalen Moore's been around for a couple years. So, like, that's what you said, like the cuts allow these guys to have another chance at another squad before the season. Slade Bolden had sports hernia surgery, or he's about to have it, so that's another one of those things where, like, he's impressed. All right, say he has the surgery, and in October he comes to work out. You know what I mean? Work out for the team. Everything's in ship shape. You know what I mean? Like, they'd probably want to bring him in as soon as he has a chance. There's your practice squad, and there you go. You never know what could go from there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what winds up happening with a lot of these guys and how many we wind up getting back. Because, right, like I just said, you just cut 3, so that leaves you with 9. But here's your 9. You now have Bateman, Duvernay, Prochet, Wallace. All 4 guys were here last year, so there's 4 wide receivers. You picked up DeMarcus Robinson. I think we all agree he's probably going to make this.
He's on the team.
He's going to make this team. You've got Shamar Bridges that's been making headway. You got Mekhi Polk that's been kind of turning some heads at times. You've got Benjamin Victor, who's been around as a practice squad guy. I think he's your most experienced, but he's still only been here for 2.5 years. And then you've got Raleigh Webb, who's another guy that's kind of making little splashes here and there, had little splash plays. So it's going to be interesting to see the way that this shakes out. I can see them winding up carrying 6, and if they carry more than that, those are the guys that wind up making it for practice squad, or not practice squad situation, for special team situations. A few of these guys have the speed to be able to be good gunners. A few of these guys are not afraid to block. Yeah. Raleigh Webb is not afraid to block. I forget who it was just said that Polk is nice, and then somebody else said that Webb gives them Wes Welker type vibes. Maybe that's
there's a lot of, I think a lot of people, that's the thing of preseason games, and you couple preseason games too with, I guess, what you do hear and see about at training camp. Like, I get that, but this is no knock on like anybody that like Bridges and Webb, like, but we've seen it from Prochet, who we were hoping and expecting to be that type of one wide receiver too. Oh man, that guy looks so good, just give him a chance. But then it's like, even like, yes, you don't want to give them sparingly chances, but that doesn't mean that you're doing it in a preseason against second, third squad teams. Like, that doesn't always translate 9 times out of 10. I mean,
no.
Like, there's a guy like Tutu Atwell out in L.A. for the Rams last year, was like really good, led the team in catches for preseason, had literally 0 catches for the whole year.
He was non-existent the whole year.
You know what I mean? So it really, you can look good now, but
Well, and the thing here, too, is when you're looking at some of these guys, and I know that somebody just said, surprised with all that special teams talent.
Hey, what's up, Googs?
Harbs might be changing his attitude. So, David, the one thing that Harbs actually pointed out in this game, and I didn't think about it until after he pointed it out, he actually said that he was actually really upset with Arizona. And that they were doing so many touchbacks. He's like, we could have kicked touchbacks all game long, but we didn't because we were giving our guys a chance to work out, and they didn't give us that chance to really see what we're doing. And so some of these guys,
that's because Kyler Murray was calling the plays. So.
Offensively, he wasn't calling the special teams plays.
They want to make sure everyone thinks he's smart and does the studying and does the homework that they asked him to sign
Meanwhile,
up
there was
for.
another bug in his ear that was telling him, here's the play you're calling. But no, it's one of those. It's going to be interesting because, I mean, some of these guys, and you guys are out there in the chat room, you guys are saying some of these guys from a wide receiver standpoint are impressive. We're going to get into some of the guys that we thought were impressive, and one of them is a name that David just said, likely. Look, hey, this is one of those guys that you better keep your eyes out on because he could and probably will translate. We'll see.
Everything I said about some guys now looking great in preseason and not translating. Sometimes it's a little bit different story when it's like everything.
When it's that pure.
Every sample size that he gives this whole month has been like, goddamn.
Yeah, because it's not. That's the thing. It wasn't just you hearing it in preseason. You were hearing it in training camp.
Yeah, you're hearing it all around.
You're hearing it all around. So the additional moves that they make, inside linebacker Diego Fajot, they make him a guy that is expendable in this situation. Again, another guy Harbs would love to have back at the linebacker spot, but they just felt like they had some guys that they were more familiar with, specifically some Michigan guys. Wonder why they may probably making the team.
Good.
They are good, but sometimes you might be a little blind to things, but no, I think it makes sense. And then offensive tackle Jared Jones-Smith. We have enough situations on the offensive line, enough questions. I think it made sense to have him go there.
That's one of those just camp arms.
Yeah. Roster side note too. Tyler Linderbaum was back today.
Good sight.
It was a good sight.
Good sight, yeah.
Harbs did say today we'll see how he feels tomorrow. Yeah. He didn't get the chance to actually watch him a whole lot. He did say that there were some individual drills that he's going to check with the trainers. He's going to check with the offensive line coaching staff, see how he was looking, see how he's feeling tomorrow when he comes in. Make sure he's not over-pressing it. And the way he was talking, I don't think they're going to press him. Like, they're going to take it light on him, but I still think he's going to be the starter.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd like to see, not necessarily saying, like, obviously, I think I've seen people with the news, like... I
don't know who Facebook user is, but no go blue. No.
You still have the third preseason game, and I think people would like to see him, and I get that. But, two, like, if he can do stuff... in practices, like, that's almost good enough for me. I mean, I'm no head of NFL coach or anything, but like, if everything looks good and you're practicing well, that means I need you to still be healthy. But that means a guy that I was going to take there, like Powers, I need you practicing you're going to be practicing. You're not like leave it up to Cologne to leave it up to him to be the one that takes the center snaps now. You don't have to work on somebody else necessarily.
Well, and they also, we saw in this game, we saw Makari get up there and take some snap. And then who was the other guy that they had snapping too? Not Cologne Castillo. It was Cologne, Makari, and there was
Blink.
And there was one other guy that was snapping. But either way, it's good to see him back on the field. Another side note. When players aren't practicing, and if you're one of these people, I'm pointing at you.
This is all Sky, by the way.
This is all me. When players aren't practicing, and I put that in air quotes, chill the fuck out, because usually it's pre-approved shit. Everybody was going off, and I forget who it was that they were talking. Oh, it was Davis. Mike Davis. Look at you spilling stuff all over the table. Can't take you anywhere.
Hey, at least it's all in the paper.
It is all in the paper. Now, I'm going to have to reprint it for you.
Might as well go ahead and put that camera on you. It's amateur hour all of a sudden. What the hell was that?
I don't know what you're doing.
Christ.
Oh, man. But no, so one of the things that I have to say here, people need to chill the hell out, including the media. The media needs to stop speculating. Oh, is this guy injured? Oh, is this guy okay? What's going on? Some of these are pre-approved day off situations. Some of them are the vet type situations. There's one, I think it was Mike Davis that wasn't there today, they were saying they would actually be there. Powers Plate Center, thank you. That they would actually be back, but they had a family situation, so they jumped on the plane and sent him out, and his team was cheering him on. Sounded like it might be a baby announcement coming our way, like the way that Harbaugh said it. But no, it's one of those things. People need to chill out and stop speculating, especially during preseason. This is what creates problems, and the media. We're going to talk about the media here in a minute, don't you? Ooh, Drew's laughing as he's cleaning shit up because he can't open a drink. But one of those things. Yes, Mike Davis is having a kid. Thank you, John Googs. That's who I thought it was. But people need to chill out and for lack of better terminology, just shut the fuck up. Like, come with facts. Come with facts. Come with Mike Davis announced he's having a baby. That's why he missed practice. Simple as that. I understand, but what the problem is you're out there as media and you're going, so-and-so's not on the practice field. So-and-so's not on the practice field. Chill out. It could be a day off. He could have something going on. Maybe he's taking a piss. Or maybe he's Lamar and needs to take a shit.
Maybe he spilled his beer.
Maybe he spilled his beer, exactly. Maybe he's crying over spilt milk. I don't know.
I don't know what the hell happened there. I literally just opened it. I'm glad I did it I did it in a perfect spot. It was like my papers are ruined, but at least it was like better than that last one spill. Remember that one spill?
Oh, it went everywhere.
I had it there, I had it on the floor. It was like a disaster. I literally just opened the thing.
Oh, man.
Good
All
Lord.
right, well, let's talk Cardinals.
Get back on
the
track.
Cardinals game was a reunion.
I agree with everything you were saying, by the way.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you did.
That's why I said, that's why I said at the top of the hour, I am so, and we'll, like you said, we'll get to, I can go on a rant then when we get to the national media like we were talking about with the game, but I'm just so ready for like just football. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of hearing all the guff and all the like stuff. Like, let's just, is it September? Well, our game will be September 11th, but I'm ready for these games to just start all around. Like, not even just Ravens, just all football. Not just because I miss football. I'm just tired of hearing stupid stuff.
Drew's party foul live in 4K.
I don't know why. Literally just picked the thing up and opened it.
Oh, man. All right. So, again, the Cardinals game was a reunion we saw Trace McSorley on the field. We saw Hollywood on the sidelines. Media going crazy. And one person on Twitter, I'm not even going to give him the credit. One person on Twitter going, oh, Hollywood wearing a Hollywood chain and Lamar wearing the Ravens shield. That's the difference. Dude, shut the fuck up acting like you know something. Like, Hollywood out of respect and the Ravens out of respect kept that hush-hush because he felt like he needed some more. Is it a team thing? Yeah, it is. But Lamar also, if you want to make that comment, Lamar also came out with let me rephrase that. He gave his chain to Mark Andrews to wear, which is his logo. So he is all these players are about themselves. They're looking out for themselves first and foremost.
It's a business.
It's a business, exactly. So just chill out with that kind of stuff. But, this was also, obviously Arizona is also the site for this year's Super Bowl. So
we go back.
We kind of got some experience on the field.
So we go back.
I like it. Lamar and Hollywood, obviously, afterwards, the jersey exchange, and the fact that they were chilling out. Mm-hmm. Somebody took a bad picture, and they're like, look at Lamar. Lamar's just like looking down, look like he just sneezed or something.
That's what I said. I'm so ready for real
over
football.
it. So over it. But look, let's look at the game itself. So let's start with who stood out. And obviously the QBs shine in this game as Huntley, 13 of 14, 129 yards, 1 TD, a 128.9 rating. Look, he had very good command in this game and looks like his throws inside 25 yards still look good. He's able to hit his mark, hit his man. Some of the drives he just weren't able to finish. It happens, right? Lamar hasn't been able to finish drives before, but Huntley looked good. He's our backup. This is now 29 of 32 passing for 238 yards with 2 TDs in the preseason. Looks good. And he's another guy. You weren't putting him out there for this entire game. Mm-hmm. You know what you get out of Huntley. You're just getting him reps, right? He got the reps at the end of last year. Lamar's going to get the reps. Knock on wood. We don't have to see Huntley at all this year.
And then like third game, let's just have Anthony Brown. Let Anthony Brown start the game. It doesn't matter.
Let's just
really is not necessary.
But even Brown, 10 of 13 for 91 yards, 2 TDs. Did have the interception, but bounced back from the interception. I felt they immediately let him get the throw in. He gets the throw inbounds, starts to drive down the field. End of the game, he had a 102 rating. Again, these guys look good. But here's my question, kind of going back to Huntley for a second. Teams could and should be calling about Huntley's availability. This kid's 24 years old. He's costing $895. And he's got starting QB talent.
Yeah.
And you have some of these teams that are trying to figure out who the hell their QB is going to be. Here's a guy that he's got control, right? And, there's a few people that are floating out ideas. Fred even floated out the idea of like a Seahawks, Falcons, right? Somebody I'm sure is calling. It's interesting debate with Lamar's contract still pending. Do you want to give up your security blanket at QB2? If you have Super Bowl aspirations, and what kind of package would it actually take to give up Tyler Huntley?
I mean, this situation, regardless, he has at least proven, you come in there and you don't look like a high schooler anymore. He's proven capable to help try and lead this team. I get it, but I just don't think, one way or the other, there's not a lot given up for backup quarterbacks in general for the most part. I mean, look, even stuff like Garoppolo doesn't go for much, or Mariota, when they signed deals in the off season, Mariota did. There's only so much you're willing to give up or trade for these guys. I don't see it happening, and I also don't think
but
holding on to him is necessarily that big of a deal either, because it seems like you keep finding a decent quarterback to back up.
And I agree.
Lamar these last few
think
years.
For me, it would take a decent amount, right? Because it is a good security blanket to have. But here's my thing for other teams. And again, we don't know if they could be calling it. We're not hearing about it, right?
I don't think that
they kept the Hollywood thing hush enough. Yeah. They could be doing whatever they want in the background. I'm not even going to know. I'm not even going to try to speculate. But my whole point is, I think that teams recognize, and to me, Tyler Huntley has proven he has starting QB potential here. Over even a Jimmy G, right? He has that. He needs to get over a few little humps, but he's got to get in a rhythm with guys, and that's the difference, right? He's out here working with the ones, and he's working with the twos, and he's working with the fours, right? And he's not able to get consistent reps in a starting QB type position. But when he did start last year, he didn't look bad at all against number ones. I know he couldn't win a game. I get that. But he's not the only one that's responsible for winning a game.
Yeah, I agree.
All right? So that whole argument goes out the window for me, because it's a team effort. I get that one player can make an impact, but it's a team effort. And what happened in that team effort last year is everybody got deflated when Lamar went down.
What team? What team was playing?
Yeah, exactly.
Who wasn't injured?
Bunch of backups, exactly.
Who wasn't injured?
So, you see these guys, I think it needs to take a pretty good package. It's not like it's freed up any space.
I don't think they're in any hurry, even if they'd have to almost really get blown away. And what blows you away at this point?
Now, mid-season, maybe something comes out.
Change, yeah.
Right? Maybe something comes
Somebody
out.
Gets hurt.
I do think they have, we've seen them before carry the 3 quarterbacks. We'll see what happens with Anthony Brown in these next few weeks. Because if next week or so Anthony Brown shows off a little bit more, are you going to be able? You're going to have to protect him on the roster. Yeah. You're going to have to do that practice squad. Not practice squad, the protected practice squad guy.
Practice squad every week. Yeah,
exactly. So it's one of those things that we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, another standout yet again, Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, that he just keeps that's what we are. We kind of foreshadowed that just out the gate again. 8 receptions, 100 yards, add a touchdown to it. Stats are great, all that for everyone that thinks about it. It's just a great game. So more impressive is it wasn't 35 snaps. How many snaps was it? 15. That's it. That literally, I don't know. He's got a good rapport with Huntley. Hopefully he has that with Lamar. I mean, that's stuff that we've seen, we've heard from in camp too. So in game, that'll remain to be seen. That's what we were saying with the whole preseason game, and Huntley looking good. It could just be a byproduct of looking good with one quarterback over the other, but like the sample size right now, like it's not just this game. It's
You want
the whole.
to know why I'm not worried about the wide receiver room?
Because of him
and his yards after the catch.
Yep.
His run after the catch. His yak. You know, we talked on this show a few times a few years back about guys like oh shit. Why am I drawing a name? Former Snead, Willie Snead, and his ability that when he did get the ball, he had that extra yak. He could get you to. He was a guy that if you needed to get to the first down marker on third down and nobody else is open, you're throwing it to Snead because he's going to find a way to try to get there.
Yeah.
This is a kid that can do a lot of different things, and all this stuff that we've been seeing, he's been doing it all out of the fucking slot. You know what that tells me?
They're testing the waters on that wide receiver.
Exactly. They're kind of going, all right, well, we know that if Boyle comes back to block, he likely can block. He can be physical.
Yeah.
But he can also get those yards after the catch. We know we got Andrews. We know we've got Bateman. Now you got DeMarcus Robinson that can take the top off the defense. But DeMarcus on the outside, opposite of a Prochet or Duvernay, you have Andrews in one of the tight end spots. You put likely a little bit more over into the slot if you need that. Then you've got Bateman kind of playing almost an additional slot.
You got no excuses.
Now
you're really running out of excuses.
I mean, I'm drooling, right? I'm sitting here going, okay, there is serious. When you look at this, right, his ability is better than Hayden Hurst, in my opinion. I think from what we've seen out of him, I think he has more natural talent than Hayden Hurst did. No offense to Hayden Hurst at all, because I think Hayden Hurst, when they used him properly, it worked.
Mm-hmm. It's just
they didn't always use him properly.
Yeah,
we all agreed with that.
Got overshadowed, yeah.
So if you use this kid in that type of role to counter and offset your wide receiver room, like they're kind of practicing to do.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not playing him in this next preseason game.
That's what I was saying. No, I think, not at one bit. You've earned a spot. I don't need to see anything else.
I think this kid has already proven he's made the roster at this point, as far as I'm concerned, because of his abilities. The fact that he's able to do all this in such short yardage, it's a mix between Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews. Not quite Andrews' caliber yet, but it's almost what we started to see out of Boyle, right? Where Boyle started, when Andrews went down, Boyle started making that leap, started being the guy that he could go to. Well, now you're giving him yet another weapon on the field. My God, this kid is a guy that everybody should be watching. And look, he's getting national media attention too. They were talking about it on the ESPN's fantasy show.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like, there's not. Okay, name me a tight end except for the three that you've already talked about.
Yeah.
Like Oliver, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no one that can really steal that spotlight.
No.
Obviously, you're blocking the blocking skills for any other tight end trying to make the squad. Obviously, that matters really. But, I mean, just the ability, like you said, he's looking like damn near a complete package of being able to do that and be the backup tight end.
So credit to Kevin Ostreicher on Twitter on this, and he said the Ravens have picked two tight ends in the same draft 4 times. 2010, it was Ed Dixon at 70, Pitta at 114. 2015, it was Max Williams at 55, Boyle at 171. 2018, Hayden Hurst at 25, Mark Andrews at 86. 2022, Charlie Kohler at 128, Isaiah Likely at 139. These 3rd, 4th, and 5th round guys, think about this. Out of the list that I just read each year, and I'll let you look at it. That way you can kind of look.
I don't need to look at it. I already know. It's the second tight end. It always does really good.
Interesting.
I already knew that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's always the second tight end. I mean, granted, at least in some of like these situations, like Kohler, it still remains to be seen what he can bring because he had the sports hernia so early. We'll see how that all plays out. Sometimes that happens in football. Like, you could be heralded, half heralded, not heralded, just a little bit of a like, oh, that's cool. That guy looks like he's got a nice spark. You have one even minor injury, and that really can just derail your luck.
Yeah.
More than your ability or your physicalness. It's just sometimes it's how it is. We'll see if it remains to be seen if Kohler still has a shot. I mean, obviously, he probably does. I mean, like I said, it's an injury thing, but it's just funny how it always happens. They pick that second tight end.
They are good at what they do, and they're good at finding that talent.
I heard that they're not. They suck at drafting lately. Is what I heard.
Oh yeah, I hear that all the time. So again, likely looks good. Area of concern: you have some guys showing some good play. Inside linebacker.
Yeah, inside linebacker is still going to be the.
I think Malik Harrison. You saw him. They talked with him today, and he kind of talked about just being a thumper, right? And we saw in this game he was that thumper that we kind of drafted him to be. He's a hard hitting guy, right? And that's what we expected him to be. He struggled to stay on the field, right, at first. Now he's out there, and hopefully we get out of him what we expected. I think another thing we saw is a guy like Josh Ross, undrafted guy, and Harbaugh spoke on him today too. This is one of those guys. He's a bubble guy, but I think he's a bubble guy leaning towards it, right? He's the Michigan guy, right? But he knows the system that Mike McDonald is playing. He's very physical. He's hard hitting. He provides you that depth, and he can read and react. Right? What do we talk about in the inside linebacker position? What did LJ Fort do? LJ Fort, before the injury, read and reacted very well with sideline to sideline type speed at times. This kid has that ability. And being that he's coming from McDonald, they actually talked about that. And Harbaugh said that what Mike McDonald has told him is, hey, you're really going to like this kid because he plays hard. And you see it, right? You see his willingness to adapt, play hard. It helps that he knows the offense or the defense, right? But the fact that he's willing to be as physical and get out there, do whatever, right? I think I read something that he had been out on the special teams once or twice as well, and looked like he could handle it as well, which again, how do you get on Harbaugh's good side?
Yeah,
he's hitting it all, right? He's hitting all the check marks. So definitely another guy that kind of really pays attention. You and I were talking before too about the other the cornerback.
Pepe. Everyone loves him. He's been like one of the fan favorites in camp and in games too. So here you guys shown out again in this game with an INT being in the right place at the right time where you're supposed to do. But just beyond the pick, he's looked good in coverage. He's tackled well. That's gonna be like, to me, that's like tackling. I want tackling from everybody this year. Tackling has to, you just
wrap the hell up, let Marlon punch out. That's all you need to do.
Harb's own comments. Pepe just does it every day. Shows us every day. He does it in practice. He does it in the games. He doesn't get flustered at all. I don't know how you don't hear those three things. And if you're a big fan of him as it is, not think like, damn, we might have a little diamond in the rough, even if it's just situational type of stuff. But it's definitely showing better depth at corner than they did last year, being before the injuries. Like, just knowing where the injuries were, but what is about this guy, and this guy, and you didn't have it once it got to that point.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that you gotta kind of take a step forward or take a step back and say, like, some of these guys that you didn't anticipate are stepping up. It's a good thing to have, but it's also a problem because you can't stash all these guys because everybody's seeing it, right? You're not the only one. Some of these guys you're going to be able to stash. I forget what the number is. Is it like 6 or 8 or 10 come to mind of guys
you can do every week on the protected list.
Right. So
I think it's 6.
I think it's that's what I said. 6 or 8.
Someone's gonna
will chime in out there. But no,
I think it's 6.
I'm sitting here going, who? If they don't make the team, who?
Yeah.
And that's a good problem to have right now, especially when you're saying this is our window. It's very clear. The organization feels that way. The players feel that way. You have Houston and Campbell coming back. They feel this is the window.
6, so hopefully
it's 6. There you go. So it's and that's one of those things that you have to kind of take a second and go through and say, all right, we really need what's up, Don?
There's a slight difference in the look of Drew and Fred.
Drew and Fred look a little bit different. But no, Yuri is saying 8. So Yuri's saying 8. John Goog is saying 6. Somebody break the tie for us.
7.
So,
but the point remains like it is. It's just like at least now you have that protection you can have of guys, but it's still very limited. So it's only so many ways you can manipulate that and hope to utilize it to your advantage.
Yeah, no, and I think it hopefully will translate. Knock on wood, biting injuries, right? It translates.
Yeah, that's just how I really feel with the team anyway. I can't.
After
never look
last
past
year,
it.
we have to do that.
I can never look past the injuries. I just cannot. Like, that has to be. I think the least, and even then, like the least injured teams are the ones that are like are really in it at the thick of the things last year. The way it went, like the Bills and the Bengals being where they were fairly healthy all year. It's gonna come down to just being healthy.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I look at too is, somebody mentioned it in there, like the special teams play. And Jordan Stout has continued to look to be the guy that we drafted and better, right?
Yeah.
The thing about this kid, he said today, he was they interviewed Harbs, Malik Harrison, and Jordan Stout. And Stout said, he came into this league and he had some different punts, but now moving into the season, he is at 16 different punts. I think Cook had like 17 or 19 or something like that, different punts that he would use. So this he's picking up on it.
Yeah, just remember, Cook's still around to help teach and
that's the thing, right?
Be a sounding board. Yep.
He said that him and Sam are different. He's like, Sam and I are different punters. We're different people, but he's a great coach for being a guy that was in the league for so long. He's a great coach because he doesn't come over to me and go, "Hey, I wouldn't have done that." He goes, "Hey, here's what you did wrong. Mm-hmm. Let's get better."
Yep.
And he's taking that. And he said rather than turning him into Sam, he's helping to develop Jordan Stout's game. So Sam Cook recognizing I'm not creating another me. I need to adapt to this kid, help him with what do you want to get better at, right? And doing all those things. And he admitted that he thought he was a great holder. But with Tuck, Cook, and Nick, he's learned he had a lot to learn.
Yeah.
He's getting better, but he realized he had a lot to learn. Like, they put the GoPro on him, right? And they started looking, and they're like, "Oh, your fingers are an inch too high on the laces when you're catching it." So he learned he needed to catch it more out in front of him. It's stuff like that. It's little stuff. And this kid is looking and learning from the details. He's humble, and from not only from the men and the coaches around him, but he's humble in himself. And he's also confident, right? That's pretty good. This kid, if you heard his press conference today, I don't know if you got the chance to watch it.
I mean, I haven't, but when he was on the fan, right, it was after the drafts. It was either like May or late May, early June, whenever it was. Like, he was on the fan, and it was just like sometimes you get these guys on, and it's kind of like they're just talking to you. They're answering your questions. He was having a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
It was a confidence thing. It wasn't like a cockiness. It was
talking to guys
just,
walking in the background.
Just being able to be like, I know, like, he even put, like, Areza can do this, but I am going to do this, and this is what I bring, and this is what I work on, and this is how I view things.
Well,
like,
even
if I'm, he would say stuff like, if I'm punting too much, that's a bad thing,
right?
Or whatever he was saying, like if they're returning it, that's a bad thing because that means like
I'm not placing it right. I'm not.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not putting a hang time on it.
He has that good kind of confidence.
He reminds me just with his presser today, just the way he was acting, and it was little bits, and it's way too early. But just I see little bits of Tuck, I see little bits of Cook. He's quiet when he needs to. He speaks up, but when he speaks up, he's funny. He's loose. Reminds me a little bit. Look,
like McAfee,
little McAfee-ish. Yeah. Like, again, I'm not calling him Pat McAfee, but I'm saying, like, I'm seeing stop. He's his own guy, but I'm seeing like little bits and pieces of guys, and I'm going, this is a great mesh and a great personality to have here, and I can see why they drafted him off the field, and I can see why the hell they drafted him on the field. So to me, it makes sense. He even called Areza the god of punts.
Yeah,
and he's not like putting that on himself. He's going, all right, you can call him the god of punts. Go ahead.
Like,
he can kick it a mile. I can kick it where you want me to kick it. Like, that's kind of a mentality this kid has. So love to see it. Love that it's going on. So one of the things that we really have to kind of pay attention to, again, is that special teams. But overall, this rookie class, they got a chance to be special, man. Because you've got guys like Hamilton and Linderbaum. Those are the first-round guys. Those are the guys we know, right? Then you have Ajabu, who we haven't even seen yet because of the injury. But everything we heard, barring from the injury, this kid was going to be a first rounder. So now that's 3 guys that potentially were first round splashes that hopefully continue to be splashes. But what about all those 3rd and 4th round guys? Tyler Beatty in the 6th. This class is showing out so far.
Yes, and like you said, speaking of, we're talking about rookies right off the bat, even though there was a couple scary moments involving rookies. One that I had woke up from, that just
you woke up
too.
in the text.
I was like, that is frightening. I didn't even know he came back in because I was half out of it. Daniel Falele went down with a knee injury. It looked bad at first because it was he got rolled up on by the DL. You could see him kind of writhing, but he was able to come back in the game, thankfully. Travis Jones was kind of balling out, has been in practice, in game. He wasn't this game. He went down with a similar knee issue. For him, unfortunately, kind of half fortunately, it's just a hyperextension of the knee. So obviously preseason will be done. It'll remain to be seen if it's, what we got 3 weeks of the season. If it could just be a 3-week thing where you're taking time off, you're doing individual drills later on, and you're ready for the season, or if it's a week or two beyond the season. But it did look like with both of them, it was can we not do this year?
Harbs did confirm today that there's a high likelihood that it's going to be 4. He even said 3 to 4, not even 2 to 4. He said 3 to 4 weeks, if not more. But they want him to get back healthy, which tells me they like what they saw out of him. And so we'll see. Maybe he winds up going on the reserve pup list. We'll see what happens, and see if he can come back later in the season. But
do you think he should have been in that game still? It was the 4th quarter. I know, I don't. I mean, I don't. I won't fight against it. I don't really passionately, but I just don't. I don't understand if he had already done a lot in the game and he had been doing a lot in the other game and he's done a lot in practice. Is that really necessary to still be in the 4th quarter? Because that should be guys we don't know about.
I think when you take a step back, they were looking to see if he could handle the conditioning of a full game.
Yeah.
Right? And if he would have, yes, I agree with you. I would have not liked to have seen the injury happen.
I mean, maybe it's part of me just thinks of stuff where why why was Dobbins in the game and that debate last year, or why a guy do you really want to push your luck on this D-line depth? It's depth, but at the same time, it's someone who very well could be the foundation of the D-line in very short order. I just didn't think he really needed anything else out to prove.
I agree. I think it was just, can he do it? If he would have gone the whole game and finished out the game and had another good play or two, I think it was slam dunk. He wasn't gonna play next preseason game.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You're some of this is conditioning these guys to the snaps.
I don't feel strongly enough to thump about it. There's part of me was it necessary?
Yeah.
Falele, that some guys I get it, but then it just feel if it looks like you're going to be a stalwart and an anchor, I just don't see the point in.
I think,
risking it.
And who was it just said it? John Goose. If you haven't noticed, they've been playing all the rookies a lot, especially Hamilton was out there 85% of the snaps too. And I agree with it. It's and that's what my point was. A second preseason game, you kind of know who your guys are that are your bubble guys at that point, or guys that you're pretty much going to say are going to have a highest likelihood of making the team. So now you're just conditioning, can they handle a full speed, full NFL game?
I'm just wondering, what would fans be thinking if he tore his ACL or something in that situation? I think we would be. Yeah, am I wrong? I think we would be.
I get you. Yuri's agreeing too. He says he took off in college. He took plays off in college. They're looking to see if they can push him to build that stamina and test his stamina, which is kind of my point. And Falele, was another guy that was out there a lot. Guy that Ryan was high on. So they're trying to say that they really kind of agree with what we're saying in that. It's the stamina. You're testing these guys. You're pushing it. I get it, but look, what if he goes out? What if he would have tore it in the second quarter?
Yeah.
What if he would have tore it? We can play the what if game either way. Mm-hmm. It sucks that he's out, but look, let him take the time to come back. I think he will be impactful down the road. I think he will make the team long term. I think it's going to happen. I just think, yes, scenario, it was rough. but the situation, I can see why they did it. I can see why you're upset. I can't argue either hard either way. The other way. I'm giving you my
I don't feel
explanation.
ferociously on it enough to be like go on a tirade. It just has that feeling like you don't need to be in there, or if you feel like why is he in there? It would have sucked if it would have been a way worse injury.
Yeah,
but yeah, I know anything can happen anywhere.
All right, I gotta ask. What did you think of Kyler Murray as the play caller as a result?
I'm tired of talking about Kyler Murray.
Was that a result of the contract
I'm just
shit?
tired of Kyler Murray.
Oh, my
whole
God.
Theater. It was like a whole theater bit to it. Like,
did you take anything away from it?
Kyler Murray he sucks. I don't care. He sucks. I
didn't
forgotten that contract.
I didn't take anything away from it.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean,
they were trying to make something on TV about it
before. I mean, a lot of veterans, it happens where they're like, all right, you go ahead and call it, Ed Reed. Like, you go call this drive here in the third quarter of the fourth preseason game because it doesn't, you know what I mean?
Guys, we're not talking about likely taking plays off. We were talking about Travis Jones taking plays off in college, which is what somebody in the comment, I think it might have been Yuri, somebody in the comments mentioned that, and that's kind of what we were talking about, was that he kind of was taking plays off. So that's where we were going with it, is that any of these guys, regardless if they were taking plays off or not, if they were playing full games, you're building up some of these young players to have stamina. This is a great rookie class. If they're putting them out there for that long, guess what that means? That means they like what they're seeing, and they want to make sure that these guys can handle a full season. And what's the way to do that? Can you handle a full game? Simple as that. So we'll see what's going on. We'll see what's happening.
Anyway, speaking of Kyler Murray, and let's just blame him for things at this point. The sun rose yesterday morning, so of course more crap about Lamar Jackson, something on the mouths of somebody, because that's just the night and day. It's just like it seems like it always happens. So on the broadcast, guy I don't really even trust anyway, and Jay Glazer, because I mean, like the sidebar, like he had a bit last week or a few days ago where he was Mike Tomlin. He had a thing about Mike Tomlin coming upon these kids fighting, and a group of kids around these two kids fighting, and he was just driving by, and he showed up, and he got them to stop fighting, and they were teaching them drills, and it got them, all riled up. And no, it was his actual camp that Tomlin does every year.
Yeah.
And people called him out on it, and it's like you didn't hear a peep out of it after that.
Exactly.
Anyway, so take what he says with a grain of salt, because he's the lesser guy out of like some of the others. But on Sunday night, he was talking about Lamar Jackson has been offered more money than Kyler Murray. Both sides just can't agree on the extension because Jackson wants it fully guaranteed, whereas Baltimore really doesn't want to give that fully guaranteed. Again, I think that's still on the people's lips and minds anyway, because that's what happened with Deshaun Watson. And it's still on the minds with the suspension with Deshaun Watson that, well, he got guaranteed money, now everything. Well, then why Kyler didn't get fully guaranteed money? Like, no one has. That guy's literally the only guy. So first off, regardless of rumor or fact, he does deserve more money than Kyler Murray. And I don't care, it goes with stuff we talk about with like I said, it seems like everyone has an opinion on Lamar, good or bad. But just look at those two guys. He absolutely deserves more money than Kyler. Kyler hasn't done anything. He still had a year before you would start thinking about it, an extension, but he can't finish seasons. There's always some kind of injury, and all the off the field shit, and all the off the field stuff. That like it's just already like you completed 3 years and you cried about a contract.
I got 3 words for you. MVP.
That's 3 letters, but okay.
Most valuable player.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
and so that's a given. Yeah, like he won the MVP, so obviously he would deserve more money.
Yeah.
So the second part of it is that the Ravens and Bisciotti haven't been known to give that much guaranteed money, and I get it. I can see that as a negative, and a sticking point with fans or national media that like it's easy where the way they do things is easy. If you want to create a rumor or even hear little snippets from little birdies and run with it, there you go. Third, you've already mentioned it earlier tonight with the whole Hollywood thing. You didn't know about that. It blew us away on draft day. This whole time with Lamar, and I know that not having the agent thing, neither of the sides have broken any news whatsoever. They've known not to talk this whole time.
Dude, did you not learn anything from the Ravens with Hollywood and Arizona? There was nobody. It mind blew everybody. There was nobody that knew about this. You don't think they can't keep a goddamn secret about the biggest player that they've got? Yes, they can, especially when he doesn't have an agent to sit there and chat up some of these guys. Oh, yeah, we're talking to this. Oh, yeah, we're talking to this. Here's the other thing. Lamar Jackson, when you don't have an agent, when are you able to negotiate? When you're not in the video room, when you're not in the on the practice squad, when you're not in the weight or not in the, on the practice squad, not in the on the practice field, when you're not in the weight room, when you're not sleeping, when you're not eating. There's not a whole lot of time for them to negotiate. The negotiations are happening. We're just not hearing about it. It's as simple as that.
Which is something we haven't heard about for the whole year. So, of course, it's like a non-story.
Jay Glazer is like goddamn clickbait is what he is.
Yeah, it's like I said, with the whole Tomlin thing, like just that literally just happened a few days prior to you running your mouth on the broadcast. Like that right there should already clue you in. Like take everything that he said with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that led to our discussion of what we were talking about because it was just a terrible broadcast.
The broadcast in general. Yeah, exactly. Like the whole thing. Their analysis and info on the Ravens roster was awful, right? To tell me that you don't know the Ravens without telling me you don't know the Ravens, you did it. You were successful at that, right? It's so annoying that they don't understand. Oh, Lamar can't keep healthy, and he's struggled with that. That's why the contract can't get done. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you had the
COVID year, and you had him getting hurt last year. Shut up.
Peyton, Sean Payton was saying like how, he had a 25 pounds of muscle, and that's not going to do it, and it's how negative it is, and it's like. Yeah. You made it like he's just seemed like he got fat. Like the way Peyton came off with it. And just in general, like coming from him, this is a guy that like you literally like tried to duplicate that with Taysom Hill and not even duplicate it, like to look like a genius, and it not really worked out for you.
I think one of the other things that you look at, and it kills me, right, is this continued beyond the Sunday broadcast. Because today, I don't know who the hell it was.
Yeah, you threw me off with this one. So.
But somebody asked Malik Harrison at camp today, asked him about JK's recovery. What do we know? JK doesn't put a lot out about his recovery. What do we know? What helped him get back? I understand the two guys went to Ohio State together and now they play for the same freaking team. But here's the deal. One guy's offense, one guy's defense. They're not in the same room. They're not talking to each other. They're probably not in the weight room together. Do they probably talk to each other a little bit, given that they're from Ohio State? They came in around the same time, and the fact that they both are playing for the same high-caliber team? Sure. But seriously, even Malik kind of like looked at the guy like, he's a hard worker. Like, what do you want me to say, dude? Like, the media right now is looking for anything and everything about these situations involving the Ravens, and it's actually getting beyond annoying at this point.
So it gets to a point, like, for the way I feel like it is, so you have these shows, and as much as we don't like a couple of these guys in particular, or well, all of them really, but like you had, I don't make a try to get that because their names, but like Stephen A. Smith's show and the
thank you, David.
Show. But you have the two clickbait, those shows that debate. And I'm drawing like Stephen A. Smith and the other guy, the white guy that's with
Max Kellerman.
Skip.
Oh, Skip.
No,
Bayless.
Skip.
Oh,
Kellerman's
Shannon.
one of but okay, so we knock them, or we're tired of their shticks. But at least like those two guys
they stick to their shtick.
But that was their shtick.
Right.
Like they created the shows or that shtick. Now it's like, it's almost like maybe I got to be like him and say this.
Oh, that's what works. Yeah, let me do this.
Even trickles down to Steve Young.
Yeah.
And what he had the other day.
It's so annoying.
It's just in general. It's just like it seems like. That's why I said I'm so fucking tired. I just want real football, like the stuff that matters. Like I'm tired of seeing people just say what is regurgitating information on anybody. Like I'm saying, not even just Lamar. Like in general, around the league, I'm tired of seeing like it just seems like the regurgitation because it's like you have to have some filler in.
To
It just gets
David's
annoying
point, they just want more
all of
clicks.
it. Ugh, sucks.
All right, y'all. You guys have been chatting it up in the chat room tonight, going off.
Yeah,
good old
David.
David.
Not having that producer really just doesn't happen.
It throws us off. David Missler,
Dave Missler was first, though.
was first in the room. We got David. We got Chuck and Stephanie. Stephanie, Chuck beat you tonight. I don't know what to tell you about that. Sherry, appreciate it. We got Rick. We got, who's that? Pop Fiend. Be More Tuber. Isn't he supposed to be driving to D.C. right now, or to Ocean City right now?
That's better been his only comment.
Let's do the damn thing.
Literally better
We'll
been his
see.
only comments.
We'll see. No, he says, congrats, David. Good stuff, Fred.
All right, that better be his last comment. Then.
So David says, newly married man in the house,
Congratulations
LOL,
again.
with a new fur baby here too. Love it.
Keep it to the fur, baby.
We got Game Medicine. Let's see. Who else we got out here? Jacob Paul, Steve Monet,
Whoever Game
Thomas
Medicine
Morgan.
is that's working.
Facebook users out there. I've seen Facebook users chiming in several times. Joshua Herbert, Facebook user again. Joe Carlozo. Let's see. Joe Carlozo, good job filling in last week, by the way, Joe. We got John Goose. We got Adit. Let's see. Scrolling through all of your comments, guys. You guys have been like chatting it up. We got Mark 2K6. Appreciate you, man. I know you've been chatting it up in there a bunch with everybody. Let's see. Yuri's out there. I know we mentioned Yuri on a few of his comments. We got Lacey out there. We got Troy. Good old Troy. One of the originals, watching everything from the beginning. So appreciate y'all out there. We got Sea Iron Addict as well chiming in. We really appreciate all of you guys chiming in. Keep the comments coming. We're trying to get them in as we can as we go through. We're trying to go through. Yes, David, we gave your dog a shout out. You're welcome. You put it in your comments and we gave it. All right, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in each week. We're trying to get your comments in. Again, for those of you that missed it at the top of the hour, at the top of the show, if you are interested in doing our ESPN Fantasy Pick'em League, we've got it set up now. What you're going to do is you're going to go to ESPN Fantasy Pick'em. You're going to go to the Pigskin Pick'em section, and you're going to type in what is that? apostrophe 22 space Birdland space BS space picks. The password is going to be capital B in Birdland, no space, with a capital B, capital S at the end. Well, don't worry. If you didn't get it out there, we'll put it out there for you. Later after the show, we'll get you out there and set you up with everything. And look, if you get in, you can get two things. Number one, you're going to get yourself, if you win, you're going to get yourself a Birdland BS prize pack, and you're going to get to claim bragging rights over the Birdland BS crew. And who knows, maybe we'll get you on air to get the chance to actually brag in front of the entire world, or in front of the entire Birdland BS nation. So make sure you check that out. Again, we'll put that out there. We'll also recap that a little bit later.
I was really bad with the pick the clicks this year, so I'll probably be lower on the lower leaderboard if history serves.
We'll see what happens for Drew. We'll see if he can get it. See if the pressure of everybody else gets to him.
Maybe.
All righty. It is time for some Bros, Bows, and O's. And these O's, they are now sitting at 63 and 58. Guess what?
Still in the thick of it.
They're mathematically eliminated.
From losing 100
There we
games.
go. You saw it too.
Suck it, Buster Oldie.
I love it. Love it. Look, it's been great. And here's the deal. They're only 3 back from Tampa in the top wild card
going
spot.
into the game, into the games yesterday, like the three,
It was
the
2.5
three wild card
yesterday,
spots were like, all like knotted up, and some teams lose, some teams aren't playing. It changes.
Yeah.
It's a welcome sight.
It is
3-2. I think it's. I just checked. It's 3-2 in the bottom of the fifth. Birds.
You know what was great to see? The big news of the week.
Kyle Stowers.
California boy. Did you
Technically
hear?
already debuted. Like he even put it like he called it. This is my debut because I've already been, or this is my call up. I've already had my debut. This is my call up.
He was at
the whole
Toronto,
and it
yeah.
didn't. He wasn't on the 40 man, so they could send him back down. And we've trust us. We all disliked it for a while, and
Look.
we've had to take it. But he's up. That's all that matters.
He's back. I love it. It's one of those things. He comes up Friday, goes 2 for 5 with a strikeout. First at bat was a shot
5 feet from going over
shot
the
to the wall. Yeah, almost had a home run.
Died.
But like Adley, he looks like he's having fun, right? Like Little League Classic, we're going to talk about it in a few minutes. They called him Sunshine.
Yeah.
I immediately saw that and I was like, oh, that is
Titans.
Remember the Titans like esque. He's California boy through and through. Looks really well out there defensively. Played that ball off the wall in right field like a pro.
Yeah, like that was early. That was like the second inning. It was like right away. It was like
shades of cakes
because
with the way he played that ball.
A lot of players like don't know how to play that wall. Like they would go to make that play because even when he did it, I'm like, that was a little bit close, but I like the way he played it because if you don't get that rebounds in. That guy's got 3 instead of
even
1 or 2.
Somebody who's experienced with that wall, like Santander, he still scares me sometimes when he goes back at that wall. But he's gotten good. But Stowers, he played it like a pro, and he said those guys were out there helping him, and it helped him find the wall, helped him learn what he needed to do, and it was good to see. He played it like a pro. So it's one of those things that it's exciting to see. We've got other rookies, right? Big news with other rookies. Now, there was one that was a rumor that was debunked, and that was Gunnar Henderson. People were asking, could he be on the way? I think at some point he could be on the way, right? But the rumor came out that he wasn't in Jacksonville with the Tides.
I bought in. I'll admit a little bit.
Well, it was debunked by Rockabacco.
Yeah, by the time it got to like 2 o'clock, I'm like,
he's in the lineup tonight for Norfolk.
I thought Adley was going to be debuting on a Monday, and I was so pissed off about it. I'm like, I'm not letting myself do it again. I still want him up here. I get the I get the disinterest or the distaste in him not being here already. Like I don't know what else he could prove. I feel everything that they say that when people feel that way, but I also see it from a standpoint of like now today. I think that's why everyone's going to feel it, feed into the rumor anyway, even if it was nothing that needed to be debunked, because it was now that if he was called up today, he could retain the service time for next year for being a rookie. If he was after the 23rd, or the 22nd or after, or didn't have 130 plate appearances, he retains that rookie status for next year. It helps them with the draft picks compensation. If he were to finish next year as a rookie of the year or a second runner-up, he gets that service time that Adley may or may not get this year.
10 days, I think he comes up.
Yeah, the only thing I can hope is like my thing of it becomes this: like I'm on board with if that's everything you're doing, that's fine. But then. And it may end up having to be on the road, which I know kind of sucks too. But like, you have to be on the roster by September 1st to be eligible for the playoffs.
Right.
And if you're telling me that like that's what you're doing with DL Hall is what you did the little game with him to learn the thing so he can come back up before to help out the the playoff push of the playoffs. Well, then that's the case right there. The Gunner needs to be up here in August. He has to be up there. Then I'll be upset. If it's September 2nd and they're like, we're calling him up, I'm like, what are you doing? What are we doing?
Appreciate it, Don. Don says hit the like for the guys. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it for sure. I think I agree with you. I think it's one of those things that he's a guy that I'd like to see him up. Who do you send down? Right? Because if you're going to bring him up before the playoffs, then who are you not going to have around for the playoffs? I think your
issue is like Nevin hasn't shown a lot, but then
they sent Nevin down last week.
Even then, it's a little bit of like McKenna issue. Like, okay, well, you got to get the spot. If you're having spot starts and you're not showing it in that spot start, then you're kind of screwed because you need the reps and you need the at bats. That would have been the obvious one for me because they had it. He wasn't the only one, but they've had him. The other day, 2 games ago, he was starting at second. They had him taking reps at first. You've had Santander taking reps up here at first. Like, getting that versatility amongst guys and being able to play with that DH spot because you traded Trey away, that kind of thing. Like, I just think the odd man out in this exact situation would be Nevin. And then if, say Gunnar was called up tomorrow, Gunner's called up, then obviously he's probably not playing every single game because you're trying to do that manipulation type with the at-bats. So it just means like...
which I hate when they do the manipulation stuff, but I get it.
I get it, and there's situations where it depends how outright like tampering it almost looks like instead. Like if you're kind of like fluctuating the lineup, but it's like yeah, but it makes sense, sure. But sometimes it's like, all right, like Stowers on the second day.
Yeah.
He didn't play on Saturday. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You literally just had Hyde say on Friday afternoon, oh, he's coming up, and he's playing. Like he's
going to be
in the
here. He's
lineup
here.
9 times out of 10, I guess, is that 1 time out of 10 where he's sit down.
So
and
far,
it wasn't no splits because his splits are fairly even against all lefties and righties.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Just those little tinkering things. Those are the little things, the little punt lineups that like annoy me more than anything.
We'll see what happens with Henderson. Hopefully they figure it out, and hopefully
it'll be tomorrow. If you go by Adley's thing, when we thought it was going to be Adley,
yeah, right, exactly.
They brought him up on a Saturday on Preakness Day, and then they went on the road. Well, maybe now he'll play on the second game of this series, and they're going on the road.
Maybe we'll see what happens.
He's there though. He's looking damn good.
But hey, quick update from Jackson Holiday. He's now been moved up as he's headed to Delmarva because he was hitting .409 with a 167 in 8 games in the Florida Coast League.
Yeah, the FCL is closed.
I was
now,
so pissed.
He has to go somewhere.
So they played in Sarasota. I was so that you can't get near the field.
That's why, because there's that one guy that I follow on Twitter. Like he would try to during that early spring training.
Yep.
While they were doing their thing.
Some of the backfields.
That guy was like, so he's here.
Nope.
Nope. You gotta watch from afar.
Shit's on lockdown. Like we even went to the Twin Lakes facility that we see, and my dad took my son to the Twin Lakes facility, thinking they'd maybe see something going on, and no, they didn't. But my son was excited because he got to play on the Orioles Twin Lake facility field.
There you go.
My dad took him out there, did some ground balls, and did some hitting with him. So they loved it. He had fun with it. But yeah, so obviously Jackson Holiday already doing everything right. He's gonna make his debut Thursday at home versus Lynchburg, and Fred and Ryan will be in attendance, so watch their Twitters, especially Fred's. Maybe not Ryan's as much. Ryan's probably just along for the ride. We'll see.
So Fred will be there taking pictures. Ryan will be up getting some
funnel cake,
fries and ice cream, deciding, do I really get sprinkles on this or not? I might get indigestion later. I'm doing it.
Oh, man. That was so funny. But I know we keep saying it. We got to figure out a way to get back there.
This summer, it seemed like
it's been hard for all this to make it work. Exactly. But no, again, it's good to see him making that. Now back to the majors, right? How about
wait? You're burying the lead. Is Wyatt going to be a catcher just like you though? Dave Misser
so he says he actually wants to play first base.
Good for you, kid. Good for you.
Shut up.
Let's end that generation.
Anyway. No. So how about the offensive onslaught on Friday?
That whole game was.
Up and down, but awesome.
Okay, stop giving up runs, though. Oh, good. They got some more. Stop giving up runs, though. What are you doing? And then, there was the broadcast. I was like, guys, you're jinxing it. Shut up.
Every time.
God, shush.
Every time they bring something up, it was like, shut up. Stop Kevin Brown, shut up, dude.
We haven't had a 3-up, 3-down inning since the first. What are you doing? Shut up.
3 up, 3 down.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We all work on each other, trying to voice each other. It's like... Ryan's usually just has to be the Southern gentleman for everything about Scott. Usually.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know where that comes from.
I don't know.
I think one time I made a joke like that, and he just ran with it. But no, so it was great to see. Look, they put up 15 runs on 18 hits, 5 home runs in this game. As we saw, Mateo almost missed first on his home run.
That was crazy.
It was. He did touch it.
He didn't expect it to be a home run. It just made it over.
Just made it over. He gets the home run. He was excited, and just the excitement, right? Having fun. Then you have Santander, Rutschman, Mountcastle, and Urias all get home runs. And then how about Hayes going 3 for 4 despite his recent struggles in this game? I mean,
I think everybody in that game had a hit or multiple hits.
Except for Odor.
Yeah.
But he's clutch when he comes in.
He's not even clutch anymore.
Not clutch. He didn't need to be clutch.
His last decent hit was 2 weeks ago when he had the go-ahead in home run right after our broadcast. That was it.
Well, but look, Hayes, again, 3 for 4. The bunt signal to third was beautiful bunt laid down.
So good.
2 doubles in that game, an RBI. We saw Bogarts and Cora get ejected at the top of the 4th on a strike 3 that they thought was low.
Which was huge because the 5th inning they were scoring runs without the guy. What could you imagine what you would do if you didn't get tossed?
To me, it wasn't an egregious like strike call that should have been a ball. It was at the knees. Like, people need to understand that strike zone that they should have. It's a suggestion. It's not.
It's the ones that are overly egregious, where it's like it almost hit his elbow. What are you calling a strike? That's the
ones that are straight down the middle that like they're calling balls.
And they're
like,
calling
that's
balls.
the egregious shit.
Yeah.
This one I didn't think was egregious for Bogarts to react the way that he did, and it honestly hurt them. I thought.
When you're
they did come back and score more runs from it.
But when you're the star player of a team like that, like you cannot get tossed in that situation.
Yeah.
And especially way too early in this game. Like, and you're trying to fight to get back in the playoff spot.
And
like,
they were able to put up in the second. I think it was the second and the third, or the third and the fourth. They put a second and third. They put up 2 runs each in the second and the third. And then Lyles struggles in the fifth, which we've seen him have up and downs in this. They put up 5 in the fifth. But then the O's answer with 5 of their own in the bottom of the fifth.
Yeah, it was a crazy game.
It was great to see.
Like, they got to be like 15-9. I'm like, just win this game. I don't care if it's 15-14.
No.
Just win this game.
No.
You do not lose this game. That is a backbreaker type of thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, they came out on top.
Adit says that game made me want to see Kevin Brown call a football game.
He kept calling like they just kicked the field goal.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He kept calling the Ravens versus Patriots.
So the other thing we obviously, this is the bigger story, was that the national media coverage as they take on Boston for the Little League Classic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the Little League thing. Like,
first, I want to get your
all around. It's pretty cool.
Right, get your thoughts on the concept and what you think it brings to baseball.
It's like the Field of Dreams game. It just brings it into a new level and a new audience that like may or may not have watched it. I mean, maybe it is some of the same audience, but you might have an audience that strictly is like follows Little League baseball, or the lesser leagues that aren't televised. Maybe they follow along and they say, oh, well, that's cool. MLB's doing something with Little League. That's cool. And it grows the game in general, like, I mean, it's just an extra outlet. I mean, there's enough that baseball does wrong and will keep doing wrong, but like stuff like this and playing there, the stadium's a little bit iffy. It's like, it feels so big.
It is a big stadium.
It doesn't look, you know what I mean? Like it's still an oddity to watch it because it kind of looks like that cookie cutter old type of stadium a little bit.
Yeah, it
like
gives you that Coliseum feel.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still a pretty cool atmosphere. Everything they do that day with hanging out with the kids and doing the autographs, and I'm glad giving autographs.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think this year made even more of a difference, right? Because this year they expanded the Little League World Series. It previously would only come down to like 4 teams, right, from the different regions and the different continents and everything. Now they've expanded it to 26 teams. So you had all these teams that were there, everything that was there. It gives you that situation to reach these kids and take them to a different level. It's like you said, it's growing the game. I think one of the things that I think is great is the kids get the experience on all levels. Yeah. And it's them showing up, right? The event with the kids and the players sliding down the hill.
We had like Adley started wanting to do it face first. You even had kids like, no, you gotta go on your butt. What are you doing?
There was a parent in the video. I don't know if you saw the one there was a video from behind that got Adley's getting ready to go on thing, and this woman in an Orioles hat goes, "Please don't get hurt."
Yeah, right.
Like, you're like,
and they got people down at the bottom of the hill. You're like ready to wipe out. I think one of them wiped the kid out. I don't remember if it was a Red Sox or an Oriole. Like,
you guys see it, El Perez coming off, and he almost gets off. He's like, "Oh, I'm not tumbling down. I'm getting off and just walking down the hill."
Walk down here, but it's still cool. Everything. The whole thing is so. And
you
mentioned
Adley, right? He had crowds around him,
which is crazy.
Which shows you the impact already that he's having. Like he's
boisterous. You know what I mean? Like we love everything about him, obviously, like we do. But it's not like he came in and it's like this aura, even, or like like Mike Trout-esque, even, like not to put that pressure on him, but like just in general, like in short order, already commanding a crowd and being such a humble, nice dude that we've already come to know from him and see from him. Just to see it on display with the kids, like I said, he was getting autographs. I think he has a jersey or a shirt where like he has all these kids that wrote on his jersey for him. Stuff like that's just really cool to me.
You know what I took away is that this team, like when you look at all the highlights, you had all those Orioles pitchers do it. You had Mullins go down the hill. You had Adley go down the hill. You had Brandon Hyde go down the hill.
Yeah.
You didn't see many Red Sox.
They did.
They did it, but it wasn't publicized as much.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak on it. I agree with you,
Cora's
but I
face
couldn't.
first was the only one that was really,
okay. I was
really
gonna say,
out there.
I can't speak on it. I don't know because I think anything I had seen always was on had an Orioles. There was something Orioles affiliated.
Even on the national media side, that's
what I'm saying.
And
everything I seen with the Orioles, I didn't see from nationally. I saw
from our Twitter feeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But there was so much. There was so much in this game. The game itself was a great game. But side note of the excitement from Rutschman and Felix when the fireworks went off at the end.
They do their hug thing that we already love anyway.
Like,
and they're like Felix is like, look.
Yeah.
And they're just like.
Yeah, they literally just sit there and watch it. And that was the thing, is that these guys, and I started to call them kids because half the team is young. They can relate to these kids. They were having fun.
Yeah.
The thing about this is, with all these kids, probably maybe out of all the kids that are at the Little League World Series, if we're lucky, 3 of them might make it to the majors eventually, right?
It's just that bare bones of love of the game.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's at its purest. And here's the thing with all this, right? This team was taking every moment in just like the kids. And this is why this team is different. This team is different because they were having true fun all around. They're sitting there, and I know some of the Red Sox players were doing it too, but there were multiple times that guys like even Odor, they're sitting there playing rock, paper, scissors with kids in the stand, right? They're doing trade-offs like, okay, you give me a hot dog, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. The fact that you had the kids cast here, right? Which I thought was great the way that they did the kids cast. I don't know if you watch any of it.
That's the one that I told you, I fell asleep when I was had a long day, but I fell asleep roughly like third, fourth inning, whatever it was, and I had that on, and I thought that was the only broadcast. So I would see stuff on Twitter where people are like, ha, fuck Buster Olney. He has to deal with this. I'm like, where's Buster Olney? I haven't seen him yet. Oh, I got the kids broadcast on. Then oh, okay, now I know what everyone's talking about. And it is pretty cool because these kids are asking and they're like, just asking the guys questions like Verdugo, the one bit that reminded me of the one inning, Verdugo's out in right field and he's taking the kids' questions and he's cool about it. He doesn't seem like. What's your favorite pair of shoes? I hear you're a shoe guy. Oh, my Nikes. Okay, I like that. I like that. That's my favorite. They don't come out. It's just they're having conversations with it. Oh, wait, the ball's coming. Shh. Then gets right back into that conversation. All that stuff's pretty cool to me.
The thing with all that too, right? The kids, I honestly loved, and people don't think about this, but the way that they staggered those kids in ages.
Yeah.
The lead, right? Your lead host is getting ready to go to college. You have the secondary host. It's a kid that's a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have the younger girl who's a middle schooler doing your sideline reporting. It was great to see you had essentially for all intents and purposes, 3 generations of people, or 3 generations of kids, I should say.
Yeah.
3 different age groups that are showing a passion and a love for it. I actually, you know what I was upset about? I was upset that they didn't get to do as much of the mic'd up segments as the regular crew did.
Yes, they were doing what I was saying. I knew
they were doing the phone shit.
Whatever they were doing, that's what I knew. I didn't really watch the regular broadcast.
The regular broadcast, they were doing the in-ear stuff.
Maybe more. The girl you were talking about, she's a middle school kid. She's standing next to former president of the
United States, exactly.
And she's just it's just another person. And she's doing a really good job, just asking him questions and being personable with someone else, an adult, that you don't know anything about clearly because you weren't really born when he was the president. Probably weren't even born when he was the president. It didn't mean you didn't skip a beat. He was just another adult. I'm talking to another adult.
And who knows what you've learned in history class so far.
Yeah, who knows anymore?
Well, but I think just, again, the mic'd up sessions were really good. The former President Bush, you mentioned him. He stops by and chats it up. Then he wears the home run chain in the clubhouse before the game.
See, I'd like stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of Obama, but if it was Obama on this one, that would have been cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that just overall, just the experience of having these celebrities there and just the all moment, it's for these kids. It's great. I think again, the mic'd up scenarios, even outside of the kids cast, they had Hayes, Mullins, and Adley all mic'd up doing interviews. It's a thing we've seen before, but we look at it differently when the team is winning. These guys, you can hear it in their voice. They're having more fun. They're throwing seeds at Adley, and Adley was kind of getting a little annoyed. You can see it. He was like, "I'm doing an interview, guys." Like it was pretty funny to see. And then Christian Arroyo. You heard him mic'd up on the Rugi moment where he's like, "Don't hit me, like don't hit me. I didn't hit you. Don't hit me, please." It was good, but the game itself, Jorge Mateo.
Look,
I'm looking at you because you're the one that was going to bench him. Well, send him back down.
You said this the other day in a text, and I know no one defended me, but we'll go back and look. July, let's just say it was early July. We were all in the room. You guys brought up who would you choose, Urias or Mateo? And I told you guys,
that's right. You're
Mateo,
right.
And this was when it hadn't really kind of broken out.
He hadn't hit the.
I was fully on board with him because I said if the bat can play up, the defense plays up, the speed plays up, watching him play out there, and the health plays up because Urias has that issue where he kind of like, even if it's a minor injury pops up or. He needs a few days. Yeah. Okay, maybe Mateo's bat is if it can be 240, but to go with that amazing speed, the stolen bases, and the defense. No, I'm a huge was
all right. Fair enough. You're right.
Huge Mateo. That's why no matter everything he does, I'm always like, oh, he got us triple Mateo.
Exactly.
My text messages because I love that guy. So like you said, but he came up clutch. In that game, it was they gave up a home run in the top of the eighth to Boston to tie it up, and bases loaded. He comes in, doubled down the line,
nice clutch double, exactly,
and it came into play because they ended up winning by 2.
We were talking about this before, and
awesome.
You mentioned his first half numbers versus his second half numbers since the All-Star break. To share with the viewers, and listeners, what we're talking about.
In the first half, he batted 205, 258, 353. That's that slash line of on base. And slugging and all that.
That was in 300 plate appearances? So
that was in 300 plate appearances. It was one of those small sample sizes that why we had brought it up.
Right.
In regards to him, Urias, because he was like, these guys are like.
You needed him to turn a corner soon.
Yeah, because where are like those two kind of players at on the cusp of these things when we're talking about all right, we got these guys to call up. Do we hold on to these guys or start, trade bait, or do these guys become trade bait, or is Urias or Mateo part of it? So at that time, Mateo was like muttering around. It was like all speed and defense. But then in the second half, especially after the All-Star break, batting 309, on base to 350. I mean, look, he's not going to walk a lot, and it is going to be a low average. But when he gets on, it has been kind of clutch. It's been kind of clutch, or it's been a double where it's like it's something that looks like that should have been. Maybe you got it out a double for 90% of the players. He makes it a triple standing.
Yeah. So here's the other thing you talked about. You're talking about his offensive numbers. His overall WAR, is third in the AL among shortstops, and that's ahead of guys like Correa, Tim Anderson, and Bo Bichette.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough decision that they have in the offseason of what.
Do you keep him and pay him, or do you let him go?
That's the thing. You've already heard from Elias. You don't need to really even read between the lines. Like this, the way he's made it sound like.
Oh, they're spending money this offseason.
Moves are happening this year. I can't see them sitting there and dropping $1 billion on 4 players or something like that.
But the question is are those moves extending guys that are already here?
Too, yeah.
Or is it going out and getting guys? That's what everybody's questioning right now, and time's going to tell. But this is a guy, I mean, he's on that 1-year deal.
He's making it hard for him, yeah. He's making it real hard. But it's not going to cost
you a ton of money, and he's having, I'll tell you what, after that home run, or that home run in Camden Yards with missing first base and the little league shit, he's having fun.
Yeah.
He's having fun. This is different than when he was playing before. This is a guy that you're paying attention to.
And it's funny because, for the most part, and it might be up, but he's the 9-spot guy. But it's almost like the way how the top of the lineup can happen. It's like he's the leadoff guy in that 9 spot. Like if he gets on, Ced can drive him in. Ced can get on himself, can push him over, and Adley comes up, and
I did not
9 times out of 10, Adley can walk his ass off. Like he gets on base in general.
I did not say Boba Fett. I said Bo Bichette.
Oh, no, he definitely said Bo Bichette.
He's a Disney guy. He would know if I said Boba Fett.
I probably would have marked
Trust me, you would have called it out. But no, I think overall it's somebody that you're paying attention to.
Yeah, it's
now,
a good problem to have because you haven't had that problem in many years.
So that's an infield guy that you're looking to extend. Well, I'll tell you one outfield guy that you better look to extend him is a guy that this week got picked to represent Team USA in center field at the World Baseball Classic. That's Cedric Mullins. Now, he's going to continue that lineage left behind by Jonesy, and he got some love from Jonesy. Jonesy said, hell yeah, dope, said Mo, for representing USA Baseball in the World Baseball Classic, but you have some unfinished business left to handle. Lead them, my man.
Yeah.
That's Jonesy giving credit to what we all saw when Jonesy left and sent Seti out there to center field on his own. He knows this kid has talent.
Yeah.
Last year, 30 for 30, we saw it.
Yep.
He can do it on the field. Yep. If he can be consistent and bring that to the game, God, what this kid can do. But speaking of the World Baseball Classic, I'm so excited, for Seti to be there because it does keep that lineage of Jonesy. I'd love to see Seti rob somebody like a Manny again.
Be cool, yeah.
It'd be hilarious.
Even just showing out and looking like he looks like on the Orioles would be cool.
Being the all-star that he is and that we know he is. Exactly. But here's the deal. When you look at this, I thought it was cool that they let him announce the World Baseball Classic thing on live television and
on Sunday
on that Little League Classic, so that was great. But did you see the news today?
Yeah, somebody you love. For one of your favorite player,
the guy that it's freaking in the washer. I'm pissed. I have my Mariners batting practice jersey. It's a batting practice Ken Griffey jersey that Fred gave me for my birthday. Thank you, Fred. I love the kid. Well, the kid gets announced today. He's going to be the hitting coach for Team USA. So I love to hear and see that. You know he's going to make even more of an impact than just that. But I want to see some extra coverage from the World Baseball Classic this year. Because think about this. And I want to see all the behind-the-scenes stuff, too.
Yeah.
You've got Mark DeRosa, D-Row, MLB Network analyst, has really been high on the Orioles and everything they're doing. But I think D-Row is underrated by many people as an analyst.
Yeah, I like him.
He can break down a lot of guys. Sometimes his takes are a little crazy, but then he can give good reason.
And I won't go off on a tangent, but that's why I don't get to do it as much because of the kids and stuff, but that's why I always enjoyed having MLB Network on over the years because it doesn't there isn't necessarily too much of that clickbait stuff. It's literally just former players that just want to talk about baseball. They're like, I got to play a kid's game my whole life, or the majority of my life, and then when I retire, I can go work on the network and go in for a few times a week and talk baseball. Sign me up. They're just appreciative of being on the air.
Exactly. And that's the thing. So he's your manager. You brought up the fact that
Pettit's the pitching coach.
Andy Pettit. It's a name that we all grew up with. Andy Pettit is your pitching coach. He's the guy that went out there, him and Derek Jeter going out and pulling Mariano out on his last outing in Yankee Stadium, right? Yeah. This is a guy that we all know, guy that we all, despite being Yankee, we actually respected as a pitcher. Mm-hmm. Then you've got Griffey as the hitting coach.
You got Jerry Manuel's the bench coach. He's a former manager. Luke Collier, former player. He's 100% first base. I'm sadly I can't remember who. But
who I would have loved to have seen in that mix, by the way? Ron Washington.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I mean, he might be.
He might still. He could still come out as one.
Something.
But the roster, break us down the roster because that's the other thing. It's nice to see.
So far, I mean, this shapes up because you figure it's a big lineup like a regular lineup. Excuse me. So JT Realmuto playing that catcher, one of the best catchers in the game, really.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso. We know how we always talk about Pete Alonso, and here he's going to be a starting first baseman. Trevor Story is going to be. Remains to see if he's playing short or second. You never know; they could bring in another shortstop. I mean, it's still got till next year to come up with it, but he's already on the team. Nolan Arenado, one of the best third basemen of all time, to my mind. I know it's stretching a little bit, but just in general, what he can do on the diamond, is just unreal. So
his defensive war is one of the best.
Bryce Harper's in the outfield. Mike Trout, of all people, in the outfield. Cedric Mullins in the outfield. More to be named later. They usually load this lineup's usually pretty damn good. They won the last one So these guys got some pressure on them to go back out there and duplicate what they did last WBC.
It's going to be interesting for sure. Quick hit piece you mentioned was we were talking in our group earlier. Quick hit on the Grayson.
Yeah, Grayson with the whole strain lat thing, or he would already be with the ball club. He's scheduled for another pen session either today or tomorrow. I mean, either tomorrow or Thursday. That goes well, followed up with live BP and sim work. We'll see. Remains to be seen. They were already, when it happened, Elias was optimistic that he could get back somewhere
this year.
But this year, I mean, in Norfolk, you're kind of running out of time because they're not going to be in the playoffs for AAA. So it's here or not. I wouldn't be upset if he wasn't here because that means you're taking it
easy.
You know what
Careful.
I mean? Taking it easy. It would be cool to see him up here. I don't know if it's time for that's another thing where we bring up Gunnar. I don't know if it's enough time for him to make that playoff eligibility, but just saying in general, you know what I mean? Like that's my point. Like if the way the rehab is going, if it doesn't look like you can really be able to play a real game until September 13th, that might end up being like, look, there's no point.
I would say don't bring him up at that point, and I'd say
even
you
for
know
relief work,
let him break camp. Give him what you couldn't give Adley this year. Let him break spring training, making the team. Right, not that you're calling him up, but let him break. If he gets called up, it's great. But
it just adds to it just adds more to the excitement. Everything we were talking about.
Yeah.
So like those three stud guys in Hall, Rodriguez, and Henderson, you're talking about them where they've been up here, even if it's slightly.
Yeah.
You're talking about them, being on a big league club. This is what we've been gutting it out for, and just had to deal with the last few years, like where we wouldn't still be talking Orioles right now 3 years ago, 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's been a struggle.
Just cool to keep dealing with that.
And look, we gotta take a second to let you give credit to a guy that you've been standing behind.
So
Cole
I
Cowser.
felt like bringing him up because I'm gonna stand by him, and maybe it's just like blind faith, but I when he was drafted, I couldn't get over the fact that like everyone was so up in arms about the underslot thing that we talk about. It's just but going underslot got you a guy like Connor Norby, other guys in that draft like that have just been really good. Like same thing with like Heston, you know what I mean? Like I want to see what he got, but I really gravitated towards him because of the way people reacted. But he got off a little bit slow in Aberdeen. But now in Bowie, 43 games into his Bowie career, he's batting .327 on base, a .464. On base, 2 words, on base. Get to know those 2 words because that's what the Orioles care about, and that's what's fueling really
one out of
what
every
they're
2.
doing
almost
now.
1 out of every 2 times he's on base.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
And the .556 slugging, so 1.019 OPS. It's 9 home runs, 8 doubles. So that power is there. Yep. The walk rate of 17% seems low. If you don't really know, that's actually a really good number to have.
It's a really good number.
He's also stolen 18.
He's 18 for 20.
18 for 20. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring them up because we hear about, rightfully so, we hear about the other 3 guys in Adley, and that's cool and all. But like I said, like I didn't understand the just overall. Oh, we should have got that guy. And if my memory serves correct, the 1 or 2 pieces that people wanted them to have so badly are like not anywhere near the majors or doing well at all. And this guy is like knocking on the door of Norfolk for next year. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So look, just keep an eye out for him. That's all. I want his name to keep staying in there because I think he can bring something to the table just as much as everyone we've already talked about.
Right. All right. So last bit I'm going to ask. We'll keep this short.
Yeah.
So starting tonight, teams entering the final quarter of the season. I think it's 41 games left at this point. The remaining series left. You've got the White Sox at home. You've got 2 series against the Astros, 1 away, 1 home. You got the away series against the Guardians, the home series against the A's. Toronto, you do have 3 more series, and we have 2 home series and an away series. The last home series with them is actually our last series of the season. Could be interesting and down to the wire there. Yeah,
you had that weird thing where you didn't play Toronto a handful of times early because of the pushback of the thing.
So weird, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, why couldn't we have got the Yankees when they were in this little skid?
Exactly.
We got them when they were the all-world. They're going to win 120 games.
We'll get to them in a minute.
You know, that crap.
We still have the series at home against Boston and one away against Boston. We have a 2-game series away against the Nats. The Tigers, are coming here. And then our last series with the Yankees is also an away series. So you kind of have a lot of this momentum. And some of these teams are struggling. Guardians, Astros have had some struggles. White Sox have had some struggles as of recent. Nationals have struggled. Tigers have struggled.
A's are terrible.
Yankees have struggled.
Nationals are terrible.
Yeah, Toronto, we've been doing really well against Toronto, home and away.
It's going to matter here, yeah.
It's going to matter. It's those are going to come down to it. How do you see this team faring down this home stretch? And does the momentum sustain for them going into the playoffs as we hit this last stretch?
I'd be drinking orange Kool-Aid if I said this team's like in
41 games.
But I'm just saying, I would be drinking orange Kool-Aid if I said, nope, right now I think this team is a playoff team, bar none. But I'm not going to sit here and see everything that they've done this year and just think it's going to bottom out. To me, if they didn't make the playoffs and they won 86 games, I don't know what else you're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and that's what I was hoping you would go for.
You were lucky if they lost 86 games. We were already talking about, look, yeah, they didn't win 100 games. They didn't lose 100 games this year. So to me, I'm already have that layer in my mind. Like, I'm just happy if it doesn't bottom out now and they win 9 games the rest of the way. Like,
you better knock on wood, motherfucker.
I don't think it's happening.
That's what my next question was, you look at this team, they're playing since Adley came up. That's the mark that we've been using, right? They're playing over 500 ball.
Yeah.
Right? And it's got everybody's attention. Regardless of whether they make the playoffs or not. If this team finishes, we're what? 17 out of 41 games remaining. If they finish at 80, they get 63 wins right now. If they get 17 more wins, and they even have 80.
Yeah. That's a win to me, yeah.
How is everybody not going, this is the greatest win in the world?
People won't be happy. I mean, you'll still, it's how it is. It's how you guys, like I said, I wasn't here for it. Like that question I posed you guys the other, is it a football town? Is it a baseball town? And Fred said it perfectly, is what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, that's cool, but I mean, I want more. Well,
yeah, exactly.
What more can you have? I think it comes down to that last series of the year against Toronto.
So
I think it really comes down to it. They're either eliminated or clinch a playoff spot in that series.
So we've got a few people
really
saying Don says 86 wins is a great year playoffs is a cherry on top. Adit saying 79 and 85 or 78 and 82. I think he said 79 and 85 would be too many games. That'd be 164. So your 78 and 82 would be one game short.
Yeah, but
so I get what you're hovering around that 80 win mark. But here's the deal. This team, look at where they were last year. To make that 20 plus game jump in 1 year. Now you're talking potentially 30 plus games in 1 year.
Look, we're all obviously if you ever want to question our fanhood on Orioles, go away.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I wasn't watching Oriole games in 2019. I wasn't watching Oriole games last year, 2020. I haven't been watching, or I'm just like,
it wasn't interesting baseball.
By the time I sit, you had young kids then. I mean, they're still young, but they were, toddlers
they were really young, yeah.
But I had toddlers then. You had so much going on. Like by the time I would even get a chance to sniff it, they're down 7-0. I'm not watching.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play video games. I'm watching Orioles baseball again. I am happy as hell. I'm happy that I get mad about little things, but I don't take it as far as some people.
Adit is saying he meant between 79 and 85. Yeah. Now that you can understand where we're coming from. The math was just not adding up there, Adit. I was like, you're missing a game and you're over 2 games.
Yeah,
I didn't know. So
we're still sitting here talking Orioles at 9:23.
Yeah, Eastern time.
We wouldn't have been doing
2 hours into the show. We wouldn't be doing this. We'd be struggling for topics for the Orioles. And here we are talking. I think that's a great point. And it really just comes down to this team is playing not only winning baseball, they're playing fun baseball. You can see it in them. You can see it in the city. There were 33,000 some people at the stadium the other day. One thing that annoys me, why are they not selling the top sections in left field?
Yeah, I didn't. I meant to ask you that if you even knew.
I have no idea.
I was thrown off.
I get you're trying to get people down, but get rid of the corner stuff. Put the people in the field.
That's what I was feel like, because you're right. Like, it's around they're still up top, but it's around
Every
the
time you
bowl.
look at that picture, I see that it's empty up there.
I mean, that's how people get caught doing things in the stand in Oakland.
Yeah,
they were the only people up in the upper deck. Yeah,
Hey.
I thought maybe you knew that. I guess
No.
they just
My dad and I have
hey,
questioned
folks,
it.
go over here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really get it either.
I don't get it.
'Cause
Whatever.
hell, I mean, if no one's up there, I'd rather just go up there and be by myself and be stretched out. And be cool.
Exactly. It's one of those things only time's going to tell.
No rules. No boundaries. 2 topics. 30 seconds each. It's time for the 2-minute warning.
Too busy.
I was about to do my gang
You're
signs.
too busy
trying to
figuring
figure
out
this
how
out.
we do this new way 2-minute warning.
This two-minute warning is a little bit more difficult, but no. All right, so this week, I'm going to go ahead. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask the first question. You're going to answer that first question. You got 30 seconds, and then I'm going to answer that same question 30 seconds. As soon as I'm finished answering, you'll go ahead and you'll chime in with the second question. I'll answer first. You'll answer second.
That's what I thought you meant.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to make this work.
We're
So
gonna do it.
here we go.
Do it.
Carolina Panthers officially announced Baker Mayfield. He's going to be their week 1 starter. Surprise, surprise. Team finished 5-12 in the NFC South last season. How much better does Baker make them in 2022?
I mean, for me, like, I always thought he kind of got it bad. I don't mind him necessarily. I don't know if he can take you to the promised land, but he got a raw deal in Cleveland. Hello. I mean, that's clearly what happened with the whole Watson and adulthood thing. I think it's a little bit better because it still depends on Christian McCaffrey for me, and it depends on that defense growing, because when Rule came in, they completely went with whole new defense.
Yeah, the defensive scheme changed.
I think a few games. I don't think they have a winning record, but I think it's a few games.
I think it does. I agree with you. I think it takes them a few games. David Mitchell says it makes them 6-11. Look, I think it's not far off. Could they get some more? They have some pieces. DJ Moore with Baker being able to throw to him. A healthy Christian McCaffrey. There's some pieces that they have. Chuba Hubbard kind of filling in a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna say 7 wins for them. They're upgraded a little bit.
So, this one came across the other day. Which fictional sporting event from movies or television would you like to attend?
Like fictional, like it happens all the time, or like fictional,
like Billy Chapel's Perfect Game, and For Love of the Game, like something like.
I would have to say I would have loved, and this is weird. You're gonna appreciate this one. The Miracle. I would have loved. I would have loved to have been around for that.
I get it. They're from a movie, but that was a real. See, mine.
I would have loved to have been there.
Mine would have been Major League 2.
All right.
Ricky Vaughn, and it happened to be in Oriole Park. The kind of.
By the way, my wife's father was in that movie. He's an extra.
I'm sure. So yeah, because it was like I said, because it was Cammy Yards. It's a nice talking piece. I really didn't even think about my answer. That's how bad it was. Like shit, I came up with the question. I didn't even think of the answer. But yeah, the way that movie ended was really cool. Ricky Vaughn, all that cool.
We'll get to some of your comments in the after hours, guys. Oh,
speaking of after hours, I know I don't know how many of the in the league are listeners, but we have another dynasty league that Fred and our friend Joe had created. So we're gonna do the drawing names up here next in the after hours. Get that out of the way and take any more of your answers on that last question.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that next in the after hours.
Yeah, guys. So again, we appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week to the show. As a reminder, for those of you that may have missed it, maybe tuning in a little bit later, again, we have our ESPN Fantasy Pick'em League that we're running for Birdland BS. Get in on the action. There's going to be a Birdland BS prize packet on the stakes here, as well as bragging rights and chances to be on the show. So stay tuned for that. The league name is apostrophe 22 space Birdland space BS space picks, and the password is Birdland with a capital B and a capital B and a capital S at the end. Again, we'll post
We'll put
all
it
this
on our pages,
We'll post all this on all the pages later, so stay tuned for that. But again, we appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week to the show. You found us on the social media platforms. Go find us on the other platforms. If you're on YouTube, go to Facebook, go to Twitter. If you're on Twitter, go to Facebook, go to YouTube. You get what we're saying. Go like, follow, subscribe, get the alerts for when we go live, become a part of the Birdland BS Nation. Check out our website, www.birdlandbs.com. You can get links to everything while you're there, and you can get yourself some Birdland BS gear. You know I always got my hat on. Go get yourself something and really support the show. We appreciate everything that you guys do. As always, you can check each of us out at Scott BLBS, at Drew27, and at Fred BLBS, and at James Bond 2032, who's out there, and at Terps BS, the Shell and Tell Show. You can obviously check out all the episodes there. And the audio versions of the show, pick a podcast platform.
Yeah,
we're there. If we're not, tell us. We'll get on it. But make sure you like and leave a review while you're there so it's easier for people to find us. Again, thanks for tuning in. For Fred, who's not here, Ryan and James, who aren't here, Drew and myself, we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
It's last call for alcohol.
Yeah.
It's time for the after party.
Do it.
Don C says, great stream, Fred and Scott. Just kidding, Drew. Appreciate it. By the way, it's the last question there that was the whole piece surrounding your favorite sporting event from movies or television. Don C, the Sandlot pool scene. Love it. Love the answer there. David says, Happy Gilmore golf. That's a good one.
Yeah, and
That's
whole
a good
final
one.
round against that final shot, that final 18 head-to-head
You know
against
what?
Shooter, that would have been pretty cool.
Tin Cup, where he has the
Where he has like 12, 13, 14 strokes. You're not going to make the shot over the water.
And he makes the
I'm
shot.
not taking the drop. I don't care if it costs me the U.S. Open.
Exactly.
That actually is kind of one I thought you would throw out there. So
Yeah, no. So, all right. For those of you that may be listening, we do have a draft group. This is one that I'm not a part of, but Drew is a part of, Fred's a part of, Ryan's a part of. And so we're going to go through and do their draft. The name of the league is You're in Good Hands Dynasty League. So this is a new league that's just starting up, right? First year of Dynasty.
First year.
So they're going to go ahead and do this. You guys are going to have a fun time drafting. We'll see what time you get done.
I better not draft one again.
All right, so the people in this draft, we got Doug, Drew, Dano, Aaron, Christy, Scott W, not me, Brian D, Ryan S, Chris B, Troy Hayes. So Troy, you're in there. I know you're out there. Fred and Joe R. So here we go. We're going to go through. We're going to pick the draft. You and I will just go back and forth. You're going to write all these down as we pick them. You want the first pick or you want me to take it?
You got to take it.
All right, I'll take the
I'm
first
involved
pick.
in this league. I don't want no collusion.
All right. Let's see. First pick, Brian D.
Brian D,
Brian
all
D
right.
gets pick number 1 in this draft.
And I was going to say, Fred will be posting that into the league in the morning.
Yes. All right. So go ahead.
All right.
Who's our second pick here?
Fred.
Fred gets number
Fred
2.
The D.
Fred to
No,
the D.
no, we're going down. It's 12 down. This is like you do for other leagues.
Oh,
Go
is
from
this
12
all right,
to
so that
1.
was 12. So sorry.
So Brian- yeah,
Brian
yeah.
D's number 12. Fred is number 11.
Fred's number 11.
Sorry about that.
Let's see if
I forgot we did it that way.
Yeah, let's see if Ryan's number 10 because they seem to always like have that competition.
Dano is number 10.
All right.
All right, give me that that thing so that we not that the strip of paper. That way we can just keep them in order over here too.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna shake it up. Give us our next pick here. Let me get that one out of the way so it doesn't actually.
Okay, you gotta
accidentally
go a
fall in.
little lower there, Scott.
Oh, come on!
I'm not a
I'm
giant.
not used to Fred. I'm used to Fred.
My buddy Doug.
All
I think that's the only Doug I know.
Doug. All right.
Doug's number 9.
Doug number 9. All right, here we go. Next up, Chris B. Chris B is going to be number 8. All right, shake it up. Number 7. This is where you like to be.
Swear to God, I don't want 7 either.
No.
I don't want 1. Troy.
Troy number 7.
Let's go.
Troy is sneaky in drafts.
Yeah.
Troy's drafts have been sneaky good in the leagues I've been in with him.
He's number 7.
Let's see. All right, next up, Ryan. Ryan's going to get number 6 here.
It is a little crazy. Him and Fred like nowhere really near each other.
First time I've ever seen this in a draft with the 2 of them. All right, take us for number 5 there, Drew.
God, if I'm number 1, I'm going to be pissed. It's hard to have number 1 in a startup dynasty because you take Mahomes and it's like so long. Chris D.
All right. Shaking it up. We're down to number 4. Aaron is number 4.
Not happy right now.
All right, shaking it on up. We're down to the final 3, the top 3. Here we go.
I don't
What
like
is
3
it?
either. I don't want none of these. That's where I come in at number 3.
Number 3.
God damn.
All right.
Just like
There's
redraft.
2 picks left. We've got Joe R is number 2, which leaves us with Scott W.
Not Scott Foster.
Not me.
That's pretty funny though.
Not me, but there's 2 Scotts in dynasty or in fantasy leagues for Birdland that have first pick. So Scott W, I'm rooting for you, buddy.
So I'll run it down. So Scott at first, Joe with the 2nd, myself with the 3rd, Aaron with the 4th, Chris with the 5th, Ryan coming in at the 6th spot.
Chris D with the 5th, by the way. There's 2 Chris's in this league.
Chris D with the 5th spot. Ryan, Troy with the 7th spot. Chris B with the 8th spot. Doug in the 9th. Dan O at the 10th. Freddie at 11. And Brian taking it up at number 12.
There you go. So good luck to those in that league.
At the end.
Again, as far as our league, I'll reiterate it again. If you guys haven't already, we're gonna put it in the description for the YouTube channel, as well as on our Twitter, Facebook, and on the website. We will put the link. I'm just going to go ahead and give everybody the link to it. If you're friends with Drew already put out the link earlier before the show, but we're going to put the link out on Birdland BS.
Yeah, I put it on. I got it out there for Facebook and Twitter already.
Yeah, so we're going to do, it's the ESPN Fantasy League. You go to the Pigskin Pick'ems. You're going to go to the search for the league. The league is named apostrophe 22 space Birdland space BS space picks. And the password for the league is capital B in Birdland, no space, with a capital B and a capital S at the end. Again, we'll put that out there for you guys. Join that league because we're excited. We want to get a bunch of you guys out there. You guys have asked us for this the past 2 years, and we've struggled to find a place that we can do it. It is going to be a confidence league, so you're going to rate your confidence level and how big you think it's going to be. So we'll see how everybody does and see who winds up winning this league. I'm excited because I love getting the viewers involved because now we have something on the line that we're gonna have to give the viewers some time. They're gonna have time to brag against us live on air in front of everybody. So we'll have to figure it out. And I don't know, maybe there'll be some mixed in stuff depending on who's in the league and how many people we have in the league. Maybe we'll do some little contests throughout the season. It's a little surprise contest. So we'll see. So get in there, check it out, and check out the links when we send them out. If you didn't get it while we were talking about it. So appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week. Again, for Fred, Ryan, and James, who are not here. James down in Atlanta. But Drew, appreciate it. Yeah, I know Drew and I have been sitting here and we're like, James would be really helpful in that chair right now. He'd be really helpful. But no, appreciate it. Good luck down there, James. Hope everything's going well. For Drew and myself tonight, we'll see you guys.
Say it.